get the crowd to calm down back there.
Go that guy right back there.
We'll call this meeting to order. Latecomers coming in, have a seat.
Thank you.
Okay.
You look nervous. You seem to like this.
Good spirits, Gary.
Any public comment on closed session items? Nope. Let's hit it here. Okay, for roll call, we have 6 members present. Ms. Alexander is not here, she's ill. Stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In closed session, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation case SPE 2024-25-01. This is McFarland motion, Mr. Nava second. The board approved case SPE 2024-25-01 by the vote of 6 yes, 0 no, 1 absent. In conference with legal counsel, existing litigation case OAH 20240500667. Dr. Paul motion, Mr. Stroh second. Board approved the case by vote of 6 yes, 0 no's. Okay, also regarding, we had a conference with agency representatives. The board and the superintendent reached a tentative agreement on the term of amendment to the superintendent's employment contract, which will be approved by in open session a little later on today, as required by law. There are printed copies located in the table. Are they back there now? Okay, so there you go. Oh. This time we have a moment of silence. It's with deep sadness that we share the news of the passing of nutrition service employee Christy Sue Hoover on August the 7th. Christy Sue began her career with Lodi USD at Tokay High in 2003, and with various promotions moved to Claremont, Millswood, and then back to Tokay as a cafeteria supervisor too. Colleagues share that she was an exceptional leader, building a supportive culture with her team, and known for her dedication and genuine care for the students, especially the SDC students. So please join us in extending our condolences to the family and staff of Tokay High School and the Nutrition Service Department staff for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to declare a public hearing on the sufficiency of instructional materials open. Are there any board comments? Are there any public comments? Okay.
President Knaxton, members of the board. In my comments, I'm going to talk about some of the overages at school, class sizes that are over, but what I'm also hearing from these teachers is that they're being given materials for the students that are over in their classrooms because, quote unquote, they're going to be transferred anyway. But it's been 4 weeks into the school year. How are these teachers going to teach these students if they don't have the materials? Whether those materials be printed materials, such as a textbook, or digital materials, since we're accessing a lot of our curriculum now on Chromebooks. So I think you need to really look at whether or not our Williams Act is in compliance. Thank you.
Okay, with that, then I'll declare the public hearing closed. We have some new student reps, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher your name. Raphael?
Asra.
Say it again.
Asra.
Asara? Okay, is from McNair, and Caitlin Ganas from Lodi High School. Raphael, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, my name is Raphael Asseron. I'm the ASB president for McNair. I do a lot of clubs at McNair, especially drama. I do academic, mock trial, part of Link Crew, and I hope this year goes by really well.
Thank you. Caitlin.
Members of the board, President Knackstead, Superintendent Young. My name is Caitlin Gauna. I'm I'm the ASB president at Lodi High School. I'm a part of a lot of clubs on campus, so it's kind of hard to name all of them. I'm kind of all over the place. So if the clubs say that they need me or they want someone to voice their opinions, I'm there. I'm mainly a part of MECHA. I'm on the cheer team, the varsity cheer team, so I'm also busy with that on my free time. I'm also a part of the Multicultural Club.
Okay. Yes. Sounds like both of you are pretty busy to me. Okay.
And
Well, welcome.
both have a report to share with you on what's going on at their schools.
Okay. Speaking of reports, your turn. Oh.
They still have, so,
Okay.
Raphael, if it's okay,
Okay.
why don't you start and share what's going on at McNair High School?
Thank you, President Knackstead and members of the board, and Mr. Young. So we kicked off the school year with a energy and enthusiasm. Our hardworking Linker organized our freshman orientation for the class of 2028 on July 29th. It was a day filled with excitement as our new freshmen got to know their Linker leaders and toured their new campus. Then on August 9th, our student government hosted our highly anticipated Reboot Rally. This wasn't just any rally. It was a reinvention of our class spirits from the logo change early this year. Our eagle Ronnie flew down from the nest to hype up the crowd and celebrate the new school year with our student body. We unveiled our new spirit colors during the rally as well, which was a electrifying moment for the entire crowd. Our freshmen went from wearing the color pink to white. Sophomores went from the color blue to gray. The juniors, purple to green, and last but definitely not the least, our seniors went from yellow to black. On top, our incredibly talented cheer team performed as well, followed by the highly awaited comeback of our dormant breakdancing club, Rhythm Emphasis. Their energy combined with the crowd was able to lift us to soaring heights, marked rally one for the books. And that same morning, we organized our senior sunrise by the Blacktops. Our senior class enjoyed donuts and hot cocoa while watching sunrise, marking their final year at McNair. And I apologize for the need to correct this detail, but I'd like to clarify that McNair hosted its annual Club Rush last Thursday on August 15th in our atrium for the very first time. The turnout was very phenomenal, with more students participating than ever before. The energy and enthusiasm from the students were truly contagious for us. And last Friday, August 16th, our Linker organized our yearly beach blast party in the small gym. Everyone had a great time with their snow cones and our music. And as we continue through the year, we look forward to our first Coffee with the Counselors tomorrow on August 21st, and later tomorrow evening, our back to school night at 5:30 p.m., which is a perfect opportunity for our McNair fans to connect with the campus. And now let's take a moment to recognize those who have made this first month of school a success. A very, very, very huge shout out to our McNair staff, teachers, faculty, admin, and counselors for helping our students smoothly transition back to school life. We couldn't have done it without their efforts in providing us the support that we needed. And a special thank you to our student government, Link Crew, and our clubs for the very hard work and dedication in organizing our incredible events and activities. And let's not forget Rhythm Emphasis, which has made a remarkable comeback in our campus spirit. The once dormant club is now one of the most anticipated clubs of the school year, and we're very proud to have them back. I'd like to give a personal shout out to Mr. Cardenas and his B-Boys for making all of this possible. And now to our sports. Our football team takes on Mountain House on their turf this Friday, August 23rd. JV kicks off at 5 p.m. followed by varsity at 7 p.m. Varsity flag football will battle out with Merced this Saturday, August 24th. The girls volleyball team will be competing against River Island today as a foundation game in our home court. We wish them the best of luck in their first home game. And the girls varsity water polo will face tag in their home turf next week, August 30th at 4:30 p.m. The girls varsity tennis will go against Tokay on September 3rd at 4 p.m. And last but not least, catch our girls golf team in action at the Mickey Grove Golf Course on September 10th at 3:30 p.m. And for our upcoming events, on September 6th, our health occupation students alongside the American Red Cross will host our fall blood drive from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And the American Red Cross, I just found out, also announced that we are currently experiencing a blood shortage nationwide. So making this, so please come over to donate your blood if you're able to, because a drop of blood will save a lot of lives. And as a reminder, we are still the top blood donating high school in California. A title we've held for so long, which our fellow local high schools still fail to catch up on. And as usual, we're determined to continue leading this streak. And finally, we are excited to debut our first ever Club Penny Wars Week, running from September 3rd to September 6th during both of our lunches. Each of our clubs will have the chance to raise pennies and dollars for the school year. And that is all I have to report from McNair. And once again, I'm Rafael Asaron, and I'm looking forward to an incredible year ahead. Thank you.
All right, good job. Okay.
President Knackstead, members of the board, Mr. Young. At Lodi High, on August 16th, we did our back to school night, and many parents were in attendance to meet their students' teachers. On August 17th, it was our first campus cleanup was held. Many students were in attendance and helping our advisor, the advisors, Mr. Osterman and Miss Osterman, in attendance of cleaning up our campus and making sure it looks as beautiful as it is. In student government, back to school Spirit Week and a rally was held. The energy and participation was amazing. Senior Sunrise was also held the second week of school. Seniors got up early to watch the sunrise together. Club Rush was also held the second week of school. Students had the opportunity to explore our amazing clubs that we have on campus. In performances, presentations, and events, our drama club has announced their plays for this school year. Their fall play will be Beauty and the Beast, and their spring production will be Mean Girls. We are looking forward to seeing them on stage. Our upcoming activities and events is Homecoming Week, will take place through September 3rd to September 6th, ending with our homecoming football game against McNair on September 6th. We'll crown homecoming king and queen. That is all I have to report for Lodi High School. My name is Caitlin Gauna. That we will have an amazing school year. Thank you.
Good job, guys. Good job. Okay, Mr. Young.
Mr. Knackstead, members of the board, you may have seen on KCRA a story about, was recently reported on new data from the National Association of State Directors of Pupil Transportation Services. There's something you can't put on your shirt. That showed many drivers pass school buses illegally. KCRA interviewed Lupe Villalba from our very own transportation department, highlighting why it's important to stop for school buses and how to know when to stop. They also shared information on how to apply to work in our district as a bus driver, which is another helpful piece of that. You should also know we have recently put out a public service announcement to our Lodi Unified community, and it is specifically to remind everyone about the dangers of making online threats. And we know the challenge that happens when that occurs at our school sites, for our families, mostly for our students. Today, I had a great opportunity to meet at Bear Creek High School with the student government class. So I wanted to thank not only the dedicated student leaders for spending second period with me, but also Mr. Jason Johnson, longtime Bear Creek High School teacher, for graciously sharing his class. I have some dates scheduled to meet with Middle College High School, McNair High School, and Tokay, and I'm looking forward to scheduling a day with Lodi High School as well. Sadly, due to something called a board meeting, I was unable to attend the foundation volleyball game this evening between Bear Creek High School and Lodi High School. But I'm looking forward to the preseason football game between Lodi High and Tokay this Friday night. And just to remind the board, this is the first year that Tokay, Bear Creek, and McNair are all back together, or I don't know if they were previously, but they're all together in the SJ in the same league, but Lodi High will be separate in TCAL under the CIF league realignment. And finally, I just wanted to remind the board that we are 1 week away from our amazing college and career night, which will be held this year on August 27th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at McNair High School. I look forward to seeing you there.
So Lodi is still in TCAP?
They are. They're still Division I, and Tokay moved down to SJ2A,
Okay.
and they align with Bear Creek and McNair. So we've got some new rivalries, but don't you worry, Lodi and Tokay will continue to have their rivalry.
All right. Okay, cross it off. Comments from employee groups. Each employee group represented should limit their comments to 5 minutes. Are there any employee groups who would like to talk? LEA.
Again, President Knaxton, members of the board, Mr. Young. I alluded to this earlier. I'm hearing from a lot of my members that we are still over class sizes, contractual class sizes. In K through 3, we have several classes that are still over 24, and 4 through 6 over 32. The contract says that the district is supposed to move them out within 10 days. That hasn't happened, obviously. And the district also says that if they're over these sizes, that the district is supposed to send in either a certificated or classified person into the classroom to help, and that's not happening either. It really worries me because hearing this and hearing from my teachers today, where they have told me 50% of the teachers are on 120 contracts. Let me repeat that. 50% of the teachers at Tokay High School are on 120% contracts. So I guess my question is, what's going on with our inability to forecast our class sizes and forecast for teachers? I think this is something that you as the board really need to take a look at, because this is kind of unacceptable. 120 contracts are supposed to be an exception, not the rule. And it's becoming more and more a rule in secondary. Now I'm hearing that one of the reasons in elementary that we're having issues is transportation. And I know that I spoke last week with Mr. Young about the lack of bus drivers, and that this is an issue, but still, you're not adhering to the contract and getting those teachers the help in the classroom that they need. I'm also hearing that several of my teachers are not getting prep periods, and those are the teachers of special ed, specifically those with severely handicapped students. In secondary, these students, they're in your classroom, well, even in elementary, they're in your classroom all the time. And so it's not like they move from class to class and you can get a free period. So these students don't, and there's no one coming in to relieve them and to give them a prep period. And these are the teachers who need it the most. They're working really hard. These kids have exceptional needs. They're hard to take care of. We need to come up with a plan to give them a prep. And they're telling me, yeah, okay, 120 could be an option, but that's not really what they need. They need for their own physical and mental health, they need that physical break. I mean, they can't even go to the bathroom. They shouldn't be going to they can with an aide in the classroom. You can't leave the classroom for that long with kids with these needs. You just can't. So, and it's not just at one site. I'm hearing it's at every comprehensive high school. They're having this issue. To the point where at one high school they're saying, oh, let's split your kids up to the other 2 classes so that you can take a prep. So moving these children is not an easy task either. So some teacher is going to have 1.5 times their caseload in a classroom, so their fellow teacher can get a prep, and quite frankly, that's going to happen, to that same fellow teacher. But really, is that really an option? How safe is that for our students? So I want you to think about this, and I'm just really concerned that this is the most problems I have heard about class sizes, about the lack of preps, about 120 contracts. in my time here and in LEA leadership, not just as president, but as LEA leadership, which has been a long time. And it tells me that there's really something going on with our lack of ability to forecast our class sizes and the need for FTEs. Thank you.
Any other group? Okay. All right, we're moving on to public comment then. At this time, 20-minute time period has been set aside for the public to address the board on items not listed on the agenda. Each public speaker shall limit their comments to 3 minutes, please. And the board cannot engage in dialogue about public comments because of restrictions placed by the Brown Act. And here comes our fishbowl. Go make me get up. Okay. Kelly Hansen.
Welcome. We really appreciate having your young voices and opinions. Mr. President Knackstead, members of the board, Mr. Young, and nice to meet you, Mr. Horton. I told you last time about the challenge I have. When I did the diagnostics, I got it back this much yellow and that much red. And I'm not really complaining about that right now because I'm already starting to see some growth in kids. The first 2 weeks just kicked my butt. I went home at 3 and went to bed because every kid needed special help, every single kid. But must have been thinking good thoughts when I was dreaming. And I was thinking about one time when I visited San Diego schools and how they approached things when they had kids who were in serious need of extra help but didn't qualify for any RSP or special ed help whatsoever. And in those schools, they had actually 3 teachers because they found that 3 teachers worked better than just 2. Somehow the women got along better. I'm not making any comments, but sometimes women can be kind of mean to each other. But I was thinking we need to start thinking out of the box about places where we do need extra help. I used to teach at Sutherland when Sutherland and Park Lane were totally separated. And I can just remember being kind of overwhelmed at times by all the needs that were there. And at that time, we started a program where we had co-teachers in the classroom who were young teachers that didn't have a full-time contract. They were paid a lot less than a regular teacher, but they were there to help and work a little bit with our other kids, and they got more one-on-one time. And everything in the classroom is about relationships and about how much you can give each child, how much they can give back to you. And I just want us as a group to put our heads together and start thinking about some solutions to some of the big problems, because I'm hearing it from the younger teachers who have the little ones, that instead of things being better because they're no longer affected by COVID, that COVID has turned them into all chatterboxes and they can hardly get anything done just because it's so much. And class size has always been an issue. Having schools that the combination classrooms are always an issue. And I think we need to start thinking about some way finding some money somewhere to start doing things a little different to get a little different result. So thank you for your time. Have a good day.
Thank you. Anasuela Garcia.
Hi, Anasuela Garcia, Julian Morgan Elementary. It's the 16 days of school. We have our Friday dance parties back at Julian Morgan and with morning assemblies, and the kids are really enjoying them and the parents too. And when my kids were leaving kindergarten, we're the last group to go back to our class, and my former parents from last year, they made a little gauntlet, not a gauntlet, like when you do it soccer, and they clapped them and cheered. My kids didn't know why they were clapping for them, but it was a really nice thing. The class lists are fluid. Kids are coming and going. Materials are coming and going slowly. The working on getting kids med. I'm having a lot of help. I'm needing a lot of help in my room this year, and Mr. Pappas has been really helpful at getting people in my room. Mrs. Peterson has come to the school and offered to provide some funding because we don't have site funds for that. But my concern is that it's happening everywhere, and that students are coming with more needs, and we have less people to meet them. And if someone was saying, gosh, remember that year when your principal, a former principal, got you out of help? I'm like, that's because it was the 4th day of school, and I had COVID symptoms, and she had to teach kindergarten, and she was calling every free person to come to that classroom, because the 4th day of kindergarten is a challenging day. But the point is, we could do a lot more if there was someone in there all the time. So I really hope that you think about the needs, our staff needs, because the needs are becoming greater and staffing is less. And I invite you to come visit the classrooms, not just the office. Leave the office, come to the classrooms. And all of you are welcome, not just the person from our area. Come on over. You want to text me, let me know you're coming. It's kind of messy right now. But we'd love for you to come and see what we're doing, and we'll answer all those questions, and then you can see from the people that are in the room. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen Weber.
I know, I feel like Price is Right.
Karen with a C, right?
Yes, my name is Karen Weber, President Knackstead, Mr. Young, board members, high school students, other district employees. My name is Karen Weber. I've taught in Lodi USD for 25 years. Most of those have been at John Muir Elementary School, which I recognize our president from picking up his granddaughter. I teach kindergarten. So I have a concern, and it's been a concern for a while, and I figured I'd bring it to you. So Chromebooks. Tomorrow will be day 17. We count every single day in kindergarten, so we're on board with the days. And it'll be the first day that our kindergartners have Chromebooks. The reason being is that we were short Chromebooks like we are every single year at our sites. And so my class was fortunate enough to have Chromebooks. The other two classes did not. Our wonderful librarian, Eva King, had to drive over to Ansel Adams today to get Chromebooks from another site. We were told it was not a violation of the Williams Act by the district when my principal asked why we didn't have Chromebooks, because we have textbooks. Well, the problem with that is iReady, Amplify, the things that are required of us for our students to do are all on Chromebooks. This is an ongoing issue, and the reason it's an issue is because we let first graders take home their Chromebooks over the summer, but then we give them brand new Chromebooks at the beginning of 2nd grade. Easily resolved. You give them those Chromebooks before they leave for the summer and keep those other Chromebooks at school, and then they'll be ready to go for kindergarten the minute we start school. It's a simple solution. I've brought it up to my librarian before. She said she's brought it to the district, so I'm hoping somebody here can help solve that problem for me tonight. Thank you.
Okay, that's it then. Yeah, that seems like a pretty simple one. Okay, we're moving on to consent, agenda A. The public may address the board on consent agenda A, which is routine business. Each public speaker shall limit their comments to 3 minutes, and make sure you state your name. So is there anybody in the public that wants to talk about consent agenda A? Okay.
Sorry. I don't quite get the whole consent thing, but I'm at work. I mean, I get consent, but. So I have a question about Dr. Yarborough. I hear he's a lovely person, and I'm not questioning that at all, but it talks about salaries and who we're paying money to, contracts. It's like $276,000. And my question is, what does Dr. Yarborough do? Does he work for us full time? Who does he work for? And are we his only employee? Because I'm curious about that. And he's like a psychiatrist. And I mean, if that's the case, then I know we could use some more support for that. So that's a lot. It seems like a lot of money for one salary if they only work part-time for us. I understand he's from Lodi. He's a great person. That's not my concern. My concern is that's a lot of money. What happens to that money? Where does it go? Who does he serve? Thank you.
Mr. Knackstead, over the board. Mr. Warren can answer that. He is a psychiatrist who works with our students.
Okay.
But if there's any more details, Mr. Warren can provide that.
Thank you.
We've contracted with the psychiatrist through some of our mental health funds. We're also, there's a mental health grant that we will be receiving, so we expanded his services to expand psychiatric services. It was initially, when we started contracting with the psychiatrist, the intent was to reduce the number of non-public school and placements and to provide more psych.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have Dr. Ball.
I should speak in that, I make a motion.
Okay. Dr. Ball, motion, and Mr. Nob, second. Okay, students, you get to vote on this. You get to say if you approve it or you don't approve it. I know you're new at this.
Either aye or nay.
Yes or no, aye or nay?
Abstain.
I'm sorry, what was it?
Abstain.
Abstain, okay.
I choose to also abstain.
Okay. Okay, board vote, please. Needs to go. Yeah. Thank you, sir. What would say is big bucks, huh? Okay, consent agenda A passes 6-0 and 1 absent. All right. Moving on to consent agenda B.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve consent agenda B.
Second. Okay, so we got Nava, Porter. Was there any comments from the public on this? Okay, students, this one you don't get to vote on because the student matters. So board vote. And that passes 6-0, 1 absent. Okay, other action number 1. This is approval of job description, revisions to existing job descriptions for business services restructure. Ms. Holbert? Yeah.
Good evening, President Connexted, members of the board, Superintendent Young. The job descriptions before you draft are as a result of the last board meeting's reorganization that was approved. If you have any questions.
Any comments, public?
President Knackton, members of the board. So I guess I was against the changes that you did, but my question is, and I'm not CSEA and I know she's not here, are these changes in class title going to result in a change in their pay structure? Because these are primarily classified positions.
Mr. Nick, yeah.
Mr. Connected, members of the board, these are the draft job descriptions. Then there's a negotiation process that needs to occur to establish the range of each position. That has not occurred yet. First step is to bring a job description to the board and then finalize that process.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? Motion approved.
Second.
Student vote?
Yay.
Yay.
And board vote? So now, did you vote? Yes. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, and it passes 6-0 and 1 absent. Okay, other action item number 2, which is the ratification and approval of the amendments to the superintendent's employment contract. Any public comments on this?
Hi, Anne-Marie Garcia, member of the board. I understand this is a base salary, so I'm wondering what's not included in this base salary. Is there a car allowance and things like that? And then also the $10,000 stipend for the doctorate. That's 3 times what a teacher gets if they get a doctorate. We teachers get $3,700, not quite 3 times, but it's 3 times what counselors get. So I thought that was a lot of money for something that many of our teachers hold, and we get $3,000 for it. So wondering about what's, other than base salary, what are some other things that aren't included in that? Thank you.
I'm back. So this section, I understand, it only considers this portion of the contract. However, in this previous contract that you signed when Mr. Young became superintendent, he was guaranteed a 3% raise every year through, I believe it's 2025. So is this an additional 5% on top of the guaranteed 3% that was already in his original contract that we signed? If you go back to the original contract that was signed with Mr. Young when he became superintendent, there was a clause in there that guaranteed him 3% per year for 3 years.
Can you speak to that?
Yes, so the amendment to the original contract is what is amended. As far as additional years thereafter, there's 3% every year thereafter. But this is only a 3-year contract.
So that still doesn't answer my question. Is this an addition to the 3% that you were guaranteed on that other contract?
I can only share with you what is on that amendment, and it's written there what is, I believe it's underlined, any changes to the contract.
Yeah. They should increase by 5%.
Well, that's a good question, because I'm going to tell you 3% of $390,000 is way more than many of our classified staff make. And if we're adding an additional 5% on top of that, that's more than 8% if you compound it. And that's going to be a lot more than what the teachers got, or what the administrators got, or what anybody else got. So that is a huge question that I think needs to be answered, and I'm not getting a sufficient answer here.
Any other comments?
Transparency, yeah.
Board comments?
Yeah, I have a comment, Mr. Ford. Is Ms. Wilkins correct? Is this contract guaranteed 3% for 3 years? Because I was led to believe that wasn't the case. I'm not sure. We're not sure? But yeah, we're voting on it.
Okay. Well, my contract is a public document.
I know it is, and I did not review it coming in tonight. This is why I had questions before. I would like to table this until we have a better idea of the entirety of his contract. That's my recommendation, is that we table this until we have a better comprehension. Mr. Knaxton, do you know what his contract is?
Excuse me, I do not. Gosh, sorry.
Because I cannot honestly vote on this unless I know the full.
I second Mr. Porter's motion.
Kim,
We have a motion on the table.
I understand. Is there any comments that you would like to make before we vote on this?
Well, I don't have any comments I can make. I work for you. If you have questions you want to ask me, I'm certainly, I work for you, so anything you want answers to, I can provide.
Well, if I may, we have motion on the table, and so the discussions on the previous motion don't hold anymore. So we just have to vote on the motion that's on the table.
That's correct.
All right, listen,
So we need to vote on this motion.
for the students, you get to vote on this.
I'll abstain.
I will also abstain.
Thank you. Okay. And then, board, you can vote.
So we're voting to table
You're
this?
voting to table this,
To clarify.
yeah.
For clarification.
Okay, so we're gonna table it for now. Vote was, 6-1. Okay. Oh, 5-1, I'm sorry, one absent, sorry, excuse me. Okay, moving on to, first report item, which are revisions to board policies and rules. Board policy 1250, which is visitors and outsiders. Board policy 5020, parents' rights and responsibilities, student and family private rights, search and seizures, release of directory information, personnel, sexual harassment, political activities of employees, and political activities of employees. Whew, okay. First of all, Dr. Horton.
Board President Kaxted, members of the board, this is recommended language that came to us through the FPM process to update these using the CSBA language to bring these board policies up to date.
Okay. Any public comments on these items?
Hi, Anzuela Garcia. I spoke to some moms, new moms, and we're excited to have a lactation policy that we didn't have before. They also shared that they had some frustrating experiences during the LTT3, trying to find a room where they could pump and things like that. It was not easy. Some people helped them out. Some people ended up in weird spaces, but they really appreciated that policy. I had some questions about students' rights. We're talking about journals and things like that. My kids went to Bear Creek. There were issues with the newspaper. The principal a couple times tried to hold the newspaper, which is against the rules. And so I'm wondering if this is trying to circumvent that happening again and putting a little squash on the First Amendment rights. That's my question. I tried to reach out to the former teacher, but I wasn't able to reach her. But that's a concern that I have in that policy. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, student comments?
I have, oh, I'm sorry.
Any student comments? Okay. Board comments then?
I have a question on policy 4119.25, political activities and employees. Dr. Horton, can you define what a political activity is?
I would assume there would be anything that would be construed by any party to be a political manifestation or pushing something forward, especially during election season, I would imagine.
Yeah, so if I have a flag of, say, Israel in my classroom, is that a political activity?
I don't know if I know the answer to that. I would imagine if it's like a world history class, might not be.
Okay. If I had flags of Dallas Cowboys, Budweiser.
Budweiser probably would be a bridge too far.
Why? Is that a political activity?
Alcoholic beverages with minors.
But then the students are, according to your other issues, free speech, would be allowed to wear alcoholic beverage shirts. Is that correct?
No, not according to dress code policy.
Dress code policy. So if a teacher wanted to put up any type of organization that was non-political, that's okay.
Well, depends. I mean, if they put up things like, such as weapons, drugs, alcohol, probably not.
Well, I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying, how do we define the line of political and non-political? And I do know that certain flags and colors were removed this year just because of what they represented. And where would that fall under this policy?
I guess if they're espousing a certain political message or a political candidate, I would probably imagine that would run afoul of that policy.
Well, what if I put up a poster of Australopithecine all the way to Homo sapiens sapiens? Showed all the different, that would be dealing with evolution.
Could. But I don't know if that would be political on its face.
Or if I put up a photo of
Egg.
If it's in a biology class, I don't think that would be a political act.
Okay. I'm just curious because it seems to me we don't have a definitive line on what is political, what is non-political.
I imagine the policy as proposed would at least allow enough gray area in the language to have some interpretation of that.
So would that be site by site, or would that be by the ESC?
It's a good question. I'd have to study that.
I'll send you an email, we could discuss this. How's that? Thank you, Dr. Gordon.
Sure. Any comments on that? Dr. Ball?
There's two rules. Okay, so one's a rule, one's a policy, I take that back. So the policy on the one that Mr. Porter's having questions about is being governed by the rule that we have more descriptive information on. So I think if we want to address what can and what can't be placed in the classroom, that rule can be utilized to decide. Is that my understanding correct on that?
Typically
Because the rule
so.
is bringing down, listing what can and what can't be there, and the flags and the pictures are not noted on that.
That's correct. Most often, the
So
board policy would be the more CSBA language. The rule is much more specific to each local district or LEA.
So I think more than the policy, it's the rule that you probably want to break down and say, okay, the rule says you can't have a flag, but it doesn't say that. So any flag that a teacher or an employee chooses to place is okay.
If it's okay with you, I'd like to add
Sure.
one piece of this. I think we're talking about two different policies specifically. We have matters that are of controversy, and then we have, this is speaking specifically about the political process, the elective process.
And I absolutely understand what you're saying. That's why I'm saying the rule is going to govern that policy. So the rule is
Yes,
quite clear.
it's the administrative regulation on how to enact it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do have another comment about a different policy. It's policy 4033 on lactation accommodation. If you go on page 2, the very first line there, break time and location requirements, the district shall provide a reasonable amount of break time. Who decides the reasonable amount and what is it?
Yeah.
Because you can't tell someone, oh, take a break.
So, in some ways, it's an interactive process where the person and the administrator and anyone else will be involved sit down and look at how to set that up within a day.
Because it's going to be different every time.
Absolutely.
I'm a mom, it's not easy to go through the process of it. So today you might need 30 minutes, tomorrow you might need 45 minutes.
And so obviously at a school site, there can be certain challenges with students and having an adult present. So that's part of that interactive process to come up with a plan. Because also when someone comes back from maternity leave after a certain number of months, it may look different than when it's closer to, say, for example, a year, when they need time and how much time they need. So that interactive process, that reasonable accommodation it's an ongoing process. It's not a one and done type of thing.
That answers my question, thank you.
Sort of like the pirate code. Kind of guidelines.
No, respect the time that somebody, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments? All right. Next one is another board rule revision on student discipline and freedom of, did I skip one? Good, yeah. Freedom of speech and expression and academic honesty. Dr. Gordon, you're up again.
Sure. Again, for the board, these are proposed changes to the board rules, administrative regulations for those accompanying policies to bring them up to date with CSBA language as recommended.
Okay, is there any public comments on those changes? Okay, any board comments? All right, student comments, I'm sorry. Board comments?
I do have a
Okay, Dr. Ball?
question. On the, I know we're talking about student honesty in Rule 5131.9, do we have something that pertains to our, a rule or a policy, whatever we'd like to put together, for use of AI for journals that are printed and student newspapers and all? This is just homework stuff, but what about the student journals that we distribute to everybody? Is AI being used to create a hub of interest?
I don't know that there is a BP or an AR already written for the production of student newspapers or journals. And this was specific to homework and work used in classrooms or references or citations a student may make. That would be one we would have to study and bring back if it's something the board is interested in.
I would say if you look at this under the use of generative AI, I think it is broad enough, depending on the situation. If someone is claiming it is a journal or they're pulling information, but they're not citing that information as, you know, AI, generative AI pulls in quotes, things of that nature, there still is a need to have some honesty as far as how you're using and citing that information. But there's definitely, it's a new world out there, and it continues to change.
The reason why I'm asking is because AI can be used in a good way too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so yes, we want to restrict the use of AI for all this, but in those journals, there could be, are any of the high school or middle school journals being sent out online? If they are, then the AI production comes into play. But the links that go from next to the next to the next can get dangerous. Because the AI gives you a link, you can go on it, and then it gives you more material to go over. Because I tried it for our dental association, and I'm not good with it. I don't like it because it's non-peer reviewed articles that come up, and now you have information that's untrue, but it came through a link that we sent to somebody.
Yeah. It can be similar to like Wikipedia, where
So
it can just be
I would
information.
say we should probably look at that for our student journals.
And I do think when we originally brought this, the use of generative AI, and I know Mr. Porter brought this up as a concern from his vantage point, we wanted to create the parameters of how it should not be used, but that's more about the, I think AI's in, students were claiming this was my amazing work of art and using the word juxtapose, not knowing what the word juxtapose meant, and it was claiming something that was their own, so we were trying to create some initial parameters so that we had that in place, but I do think it's going to continue to be a challenge, but that was the purpose of this. But and I would have to hear from teachers to understand how it's being utilized as far as research.
The, I'm
Porter?
sorry, Gary.
Go ahead.
Sorry. We Dr. Wall, you finished? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, AI is something I'm fascinated by. And I like what we're trying to do. It's a good thing. I do like that teachers are also using it. Of course, you can get into the weeds like Dr. Ball did. You can get some off-road research done and so forth. How much coverage are we giving teachers when they come out with their policy for AI in their classroom and they find that a student's voice is gone and they've just generated this, and the parent's a lawyer and the teacher has said this is not, this is cheating. This is not what I put in my syllabus. How much coverage is the district giving that teacher when they say that's cheating?
I don't know if I can quantify how much coverage is given to a teacher,
Well,
other than if they're acting in the duties as a teacher, we have a responsibility to protect someone and make sure that our administrators are working alongside them. But I wouldn't be able to give you a...
because I read where some districts are just running and hiding and leave the teachers hanging out.
Yeah, and I haven't heard of examples of that happening in Lodi USD.
Okay, I hope we'd be supportive of the teaching in the classroom. Because it's tough to track down the AI that's being generated. I know some of our teachers are using it. I know some of our administrators use it. It's here. It's only going to get bigger and bigger. So I'm just worried about how we use it and hopefully develop critical thinking without relying on an algorithm. Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Farley.
Have we looked into CSBA given any recommendations on AI, or have they given any rules? I haven't heard of any in my dealings with CSBA. I just don't know if they've even covered that yet. I don't. At our last conference, did they? I don't know.
No, the classes I went to, I'm sorry,
No, you're.
Santa Cruz, Palo Alto, Santa Clara, all of them were going down the Olympic Road with what they were going to do, and the teachers had direct collaboration on what they wanted with their district. Of course, some of it was being used in the classroom, and the teachers were good on that, and was being monitored. But that was being generated through teacher-administrator collaboration.
But were they using, I'm sorry, we're kind of going, did they have a rule and a policy to follow?
Depends upon the class.
Okay, I was just curious if, I haven't seen anything from CSB because usually they weigh in
No,
with their
they're
recommendations.
behind, everybody, but Santa Cruz is really been out in front of it.
Okay, thank you.
And these, the rules and policies can always be revised at our whim if we need to, so, or updated.
Yeah, it's a good start.
Okay.
Do we
All right.
do we have a sunset date for the policies? We have
I would say, as far as the sunset date, we do and will be bringing some policies that we've had in, for example, personnel. They're not connected in any way to Ed Code. They're just what was created long, long ago. And so we're looking at whether or not we need to sunset policies like that to realign them specific with Ed Code and government code to be in alignment with the law. So there's situations like that.
So yearly sunset, and you look at what changed and changed the policy. I just don't want to see a policy from 1998 again.
You may see more. We're continuing to go through old policies, so I cannot promise you that, Dr. Ball.
Dr. Ball, I have to say that we have to give credit to our administrators. This is the first time we've been looking at our policies. And kudos to them for trying to get us updated. And you're right, 1998, I was still in college.
I'm going to check with generative AI.
I know.
Not sure about that. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to our Title IX coordinator. We're going to have a new job.
This is a really interesting situation because through the federal program monitoring process, in conjunction with the California Department of Education, they have made it clear that we will not clear our FPM findings unless we have a clearly defined job description for the Title IX coordinator. It doesn't mean the district is hiring someone to be the Title IX coordinator. It just requires a clear job description so whoever is assigned those duties has a clear understanding aligned with the law as far as the duties assigned that person. So we have someone who plays multiple roles, one of which is being the Title IX coordinator. We now are recommending a job description to clearly define that.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, any public comments on that one?
Yes, of course. So like I said, I'm looking at the agenda. It says we're not adding people. There is no budget with this. So somebody has been doing this job. Okay. So it's great that we're getting job descriptions for some of these duties. I wish we would update job descriptions. I know that our media people have been talking about that. And quite frankly, even teachers should get an updated job description because with a lot of our curriculum now being technology-based, that has not been updated in our job descriptions either. And I think to have some computer literacy should be on that job description as well as some other things. So maybe this is a sign that the district will look at revamping job descriptions throughout the district. Thank you.
Any student comments? Any other board comments on Title IX? All right. Then we're moving on to any board advisory committee reports? No? All right, then we're down to comments from boards. Members, any comments from board members?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I have two things I kind of wrote down here that, one is as a department head in high school, and then as a teacher in the science department as well. 120's talking with the site administrator at the time. Yeah, they used to be, well, I shouldn't say they used to be. For administrators and for department heads, 120s at the high school level well, how do I put this? If you can't find qualified candidates, and we know there's a teacher shortage, then to go with somebody you know and fill that spot is a lot easier for everybody. So I know there's a lot of people out there saying the 120s are bad. I also know there's a lot of people saying there's not enough teachers. But if I'm an administrator and I'm a department head, or I'm people working in the department, I like to know that that spot was filled by somebody we knew and what they were all about, right? So that's my speech on 120s. I think it's not a great thing. Obviously, you want to bring in young, new, fresh blood and get them going in teaching. But if you can't find that, you do have people there that they make extra money. They work a longer day, yes, but they also can improve. And it helps out with the school. It helps out with the kids. It helps out every which way around. So the 120 comment, I get it, but at the same time, there's another side of it was pretty good. The class sizes. This is one thing that Ron Everly and I guess Susan Everly, she never understood, and he never understood, why we weren't ready to go on the first day of school. Why is it that we didn't know what we needed? Why is it we don't have the Chromebooks ready to go? Why isn't the teachers ready to prepare? Why isn't their class size correct? Why are we constantly doing this? And in my 44 years in this district, I have yet to see a school ready to go on the first day. And maybe it's just the nature of what we do, but it was something that was big. And the sped prep periods, can we look into that? And the Chromebook idea that Ms. Weber brought up, sounds good to me. Why aren't we doing it? And again, ask your people in the trenches. They'll tell you what they need to get done to get things right. So those are some of my comments. Thank you.
I have a question for Mr. Young. On the 120, those people that take the 20 are volunteers, is that correct, for that particular subjects?
There's nothing that provides.
No, I'm saying volunteer.
You cannot
In other words,
require
I want
someone.
to take the 120, okay? So I'm volunteering to take the 120, but I'm getting
Correct.
paid for the 120.
That is correct.
Is that what we're doing?
Yes, it is not required. Someone is entitled to a prep.
All right.
They have to sign off that they're going to take
In
that.
other words, we're not overworking these people by assigning them these 120.
This is not a directive.
Okay, thank you. That's all I want to know.
You have a comment? Okay. That's both.
Thank you, President Paxton. Is my voice loud? Well, thank you all for coming. I have a quick comment on our board provisions and bylaws. I just wanted to make sure we go back to that really quick. Last year in August, we had first talked about bringing them back because we were noticing policies were from way back when. So trying to go back in the meetings, our first policies that came in for revision were in September of 5th meeting of last year is when we started doing it. We started looking at what was not current. So it's going to be a year of us revising policies and bylaws, and we'll never be able to achieve all of them in 1 year, I understand that. But I think I would just like to know, for reference, it's not written somewhere, but I'd just like to know for reference, how many more are pending and how much time are we looking at? Good governance is what is bringing me to this question. It's not a blame game. I appreciate every effort that everybody puts into this. It just keeps us easy to run the place in good structure and good governance. So I'd just like to kind of have a timeline. How much more do we have left? And what's our proposed end date for all that's existing so we can start looking again?
Yep, we will take a look at where we are in the process, because we've been going up for the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, the 5s, 6, and the goal then at that point is to look at all those to see once they've been updated. So I will try to provide that information to you in a timely fashion, because we continue to bring them, but we don't want to over inundate. Maybe that's unnecessary,
No,
but
that's fine. I
we
mean-
don't want to send so many to you that it becomes 30 or 40.
Sherry's absent, send them all.
She's reading them. She's looking for commas. She sees yeah. Don't you worry. I can feel her in the back of my head right now.
Check your phone.
I know. There's coming.
And then a comment came up today about a teacher aide in classroom. I fully support a teacher aide in classroom. I think as a parent, I used to volunteer in classrooms, chaperone for the classrooms, but a teacher aide in the classroom is bring those high school students graduating, not really going to college, bring them in and have them help teachers out. They're good kids in our school district. They can come back in and start helping. And some parents might be interested and just don't know the pathway to it. So I think we should really encourage that.
Just real, I got a couple just quick ones. I had a chance to visit Tokay today, finally able to get out again. And for last meeting, I really saw the frustration with the library media assistants. You know, got a firsthand experience of what they're doing, and when she was trying to show me the stuff, students coming in and, you know, working with it. And it's a lot different than a librarian's job a few years ago. So anyway, but I went over and saw that. And just on a weird note, sometimes like individuals don't get a shout out or something, but I ride out a lot in the country and I saw a bus just stopped on the side of the road. It's on Ray Road, so whichever bus driver has that route, in between Turner and, no, not Turner and Peltier, but that doesn't matter. But anyway, this bus was just sat there at the canal, and I'm riding along canals, and it was there for like 10 minutes because of the loop I take, and not that I'm trespassing or anything. And they were doing it, and then I finally stopped, and I was going to see if they broke down or waiting or something, and then I finally see a car pull up, and 3 kids get out. So the bus driver was waiting there patiently. There was only 3 kids left on the bus, and see the 3 kids get out to their car, because I know there had been issues before. So then I was going to go up and tell the bus driver, you know, thanks for waiting, introduce myself, but the bus driver took off. I didn't have time to get there, but they were probably waiting a good 10, 12, 15 minutes that I saw them. So it was just kind of nice, and I also go out in the morning too, and I see, you know, crossing guards working. And I don't know if those people get enough shout out, just, you know, being friendly with the kids and doing other things. So I was just happy to see that. That's, maybe doesn't that seem like a big deal, but it touched me.
Mr. Stroh, just so you know, I've been out visiting high school libraries, middle schools, elementary, alternative schools, so I've been having a lot of conversations with people as I go out to get perspective and sitting down and understanding the power washing process. And so I am in that process right now of gathering a lot of information, and we'll be discussing it again at Cabinet tomorrow to get a clear understanding of all those challenges. So we are aware, but we are continuing that process to understand.
Okay. Well, I got a couple of things I wanted to mention. I like to go to schools in my area at the beginning of the year and talk to the principals. Now, I'm not going to go through all these things, but I asked the principals, if you could have one thing, what would you like to have? And there were some pretty interesting comments, I thought, that Chris McCullough, he wanted more cameras, but they wanted them on tall poles so they could watch the kids at the basketball courts and that kind of stuff. Manuel Silva, shade structures. Actually, they just wanted to have it finished. They already have it, they'd like to have it finished. Julie Morgan, Jeff Pappas couldn't help himself because I said, anything but people. Well, he said we have to have more full-time counselors. Bear Creek talked about safety with the perimeter fence. Creekside, basically anything you can do to freshen up our campus. And there's a whole list of things that they would like to have happen. And finally at John Muir, one thing was, I thought was the most interesting, they wanted to move the flagpole from where it was to inside the interior of the school for safety reasons. But the best one of all is they'd really like to have the skunk removed. Really, that too? So anyway, I'll give you the complete list, but I thought, you know.
I'm sending Mark Dawson over for the skunk removal process.
Yeah, okay, good. Assign that to somebody. Okay. Any other comments? Okay. All right, we need a motion.
Motion adjourned.
Okay, and thank you all for coming. 8:20.